live streams to with you guys. So if you like this and appreciate that, share with your friends and like the comment. Unfortunately, guys, my screen broke, so my setup changed. As you can see, you see, my screen broke. So yeah, you see. So I'm only using my alternate screen for now until we make enough good trades to get a new Mac. And you see this? So this my office, the studio you're seeing here, it's also the safe room. So this is where we have to be during nights when Iran is sending its ballistic missiles. And so, yeah, we're hearing some explosions at night. We've had some casualties. May their memories be forever blessed. It's some sad and intense days here in Israel. But according to the markets, let's go over what I've been doing. I'm going to show you guys some good trades that I did yesterday, some bad decisions. So I'm going to share my mistakes. I'm going to share my successes. And then what we're going to do is we're going to analyze where we are at in the market. Okay. So let's start first. First things first. Let's start by analyzing the market. Bitcoin dominance, then total three. We'll go through the Nasdaq because we are trying this new strategy. Remember the orb, but we're in London session now. Those are the two lines you're seeing, and it's been working. Not exactly like it's not one to one, but it does help you to get a short term bias, which is basically what we need for day trading. Now, let's go over the market. Obviously, there's a huge bull run that started right when I was going to sleep. So until here, look at this. Until here, this was looking pretty grim, right? If you would think of this, you'd say, okay, this is one, two, three hits. Probably, if we cannot get above this 106 line, we're going to go to revisit this 102 or less. But what happened right here at 104 500, we had, let me show you, this was a quite a bullish SFP, right? What is an SFP again? Swing failure pattern. And for you to understand it, let me invert the chart, because we like to spot it when we're spotting trend shifts to the downside, right? So what happened here? You see this obvious support here, which now you can see it as resistance, and we started hitting this for 14,600, right? So we try to break it once. Let me show you. Even if the 5 minute, you could have spotted it better, but yet we failed to crack down on it, and that becomes your immediate swing failure pattern, which then can give you a bullish bias for the rest of the day. Unfortunately, this happened around midnight for me. So so this was the re-entry, and that was already around 3 or 4. So look at this run. This run happened from my 4 a.m. until today. So obviously I couldn't catch most of these moves, but I did take a few trades that were successful and put me now in profit. Uh, I did two wave of trades very successfully, and then I did some. I over traded at the end, and then that's why I'm not right now certified. But I'll let you go through it, and I'll go with you for today. So let's see what we got here. Yeah. Okay. So here are the trades. Um, I'm gonna go through the trades of yesterday, and then I'm going to go through the trades that we've had today, so that you guys understand my train of thought. and where I made the mistakes and where I made the good trades and the bad trades, right? So let's go from the beginning. Yeah, there was a few good trades on AIXBT, right? Why? Because I understood that this was topping a bit, and so I shorted. Now the short here, you can see it here, was with a very tight stop loss because it said, okay, if we're cracking 1,800, I'm out. But luckily, it did retrace. Now I closed it here, and then I thought, hey, it's making a stand, so I flipped bullish on it, which was a very good point to flip bullish. But I did have to undertake this. It was not the exact point, right? There was still like a swing down. So I caught this move, and then I sold here. Why? Because I thought, okay, I'm probably gonna go off to sleep now. So I ended up the trade here, which would be good because my stop loss, my original stop loss was below here, right at this point. But once you take profit, I put it up in entry, so that would have stopped me out. So that those two, this short and this long, were both good trades. But I'll tell you where, and I did the same thing with A16Z. So I did go bullish here. I got to sell here, and then did the same round back again here, and I got here right on time because this would have definitely stopped me out. But look at this run, right? Now things are trying to reverse here, so let me check quickly what's going on. The last trade that I took, and that one's what was a real shame because I know this thing gets super parabolic. I got into SPX here, sold here for a bit, took here partial profits, and then I left the rest, right? But then my mistake was I closed it again here and then got here. Look at this beautiful entry. I got around here again and then sold, took partial here. But then my mistake was selling the whole lot here instead of just putting my stop loss below this, just above entry, and that would have held here. And look at this run now. That would have given me definitely my certificate, 100%. So those were profitable trades, which have me up in the account. Now I'm gonna run through the last trade that I took, which was a very bad trade, and the mistake here was over trading, right? Because I managed to get a good long, and then I managed to like reverse it. So I got a good long, and then I made a few two short profitable shorts. Let me show you where it was here and here. Range. Let me just click here to get yesterday's trades as well. Right. Right. So yeah. So I had to sell on moving. I caught a few good shorts as well on Arweave, and you see I shorted here. No, but I cut it stopped me out here. I remember. But the good one that the short that did was profitable was S. And this was a very interesting trade, guys. But because I saw it wasn't breaking resistance, so I went short here and I closed it right above here. You see? Almost when it reversed. Now I wasn't smart enough to go bullish to turn bullish here, but that would have been a beautiful long. So now because I managed to get the short and the long. ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó, mi amor? ¿No va a dejar? Ah, ya va, ni pa- ahorita, pero chiquito, estoy transmitiendo. Mike is here with me. Mikey, ¿quieres decir hola a la gente? No. ¿No? Ahorita voy, mi amor. Ahorita voy. Okay, so let me go to the current trades, guys. So because we're following still our the orb strategy, right? What we're saying is, and this is not exactly one by one, right? But we're taking London session. We're going to the 15 minutes. I remind you, we mark the high and the low of this orb. It can be either the second 15-minute chart or the first one, but we want to take the this trade. Just a second. Just a second. All right. So this is how the Nasdaq looks like right now, and it's looking a bit toppy, right? If we go into the 5 minutes, we see that it's trying to break out of the orb, but now it's back down again. So this is not conclusive. Now, if you look at it in the Bitcoin chart, let's put on the sessions. We can see that we have this little orb, and this immediately broke out. So this is now above the orb, which would set our temporary bullet the bias to the upside. So it would set our unless we start cracking down here back again into the orb, we would say our temporary our short-term bias is bullish. But look at this, guys. Look at this run. Like it obviously already run. It's gonna retrace some of this move eventually in some capacity, right? This thing just ran nonstop. Well, not nonstop, like up and down, but if you take this price range from this swing failure pattern long all the way to now, it's a 2.6%. It's a 2,700 move on Bitcoin. So it's significant, guys. And we would expect a pullback at some point. But we're not going to try to guess tops because it's the same as guessing bottoms. You start picking bottoms, you get smelly fingers. Or anyway, so we're hoping that this orb holds for for this period, because what I did is go long, and now I'm going to get into the current trades before we leave the stream, right? So what I my theory here is that, okay, let's take a look at dominance. Bitcoin dominance is chugging downwards, which should make us bullish for the short term, right? Because we're saying, okay, lower highs, lower lows. This should we should try to get some kind of, so on the short term, this might seem bullish for alts, right? But, and that's a big but, right? We're here like doing this kind of pattern. But zoom out, guys, and you can see that, first of all, this double top that I was pointing back here already failed. So I can take this out because the kind of double top move that I was pointing back here in June, the beginning of the month, is not playing out. What we're doing here is a flag, and that is quite dangerous. Why? Because what we can see here is that if this flag plays out to the upside, we can easily break this 65 level, and that would mean we're going to break out in dominance to the next upwards level in Bitcoin, which means Bitcoin show destruction for alls, whether to the upside or to the downside. What we want to see is we want to see this pattern break down, break this 64% like convincingly, and that would initiate some kind of an alt run. Now, looking at total three, we are seeing that we're running at resistance right at this 850 billion mark. But We are still consolidating in an upwards kind of move. Let me clean this up for you, right? So what we're seeing is that we are holding this 800 billion as support, but we all had obvious resistance at not even a trillion, 950. So this is kind of our big range here, and we're closer to support than we are to resistance. So my point here is that I think we should be bullish on odds for the time being, unless we start breaking down the 800 level convincingly. So now let's see what we have here. We see here that we broke here a significant resistance that we smacked down here, but we're kind of chugging along trying to recuperating this levels. So probably between here and the latest low, 850 and 840, that is kind of a range now for market capitalization excluding BTC, Ethereum, and stables. Right. So we're running now kind of on a low time frame. And now let's check up the next Nasdaq. So Nasdaq is not giving up this orb, but it's also not decided yet. So what we would like to see is we would like to see a breakout above this. And now, regarding my trade, guys. So what my theory here is that if my bias is going to be bullish, even though we already did a huge move, right? This, you see this candle? This might be like overextension to the upside. So we might very well start correcting here. And if we get inside the orb here, I might just cut off my longs. But until we do that and we close the candle below, my bias is still gonna be bullish for the time being. So what I did is I took two longs. I went to the list and I said, okay, this is already parabolic, SPX, hype, AI16Z, which I'd love to be inside because that would mean we already had the certificate. So we don't want to go into these guys because the smackdowns here can be very violent. What we want to do here, or I at least, my theory is that we want to look at those that have not yet run so hard, but are kind of a but have bullish momentum, right? So, for example, I took along on Trump, and on Ton. I'll tell you why. So, Trump hasn't yet did, done a big run, but it's now testing this kind of resistance around here. So, I took a very huge profit here on Trump, but obviously this was a fake move to the upside. So I would have obviously cashed out entirely. This was a mistake I did 2 days ago. I'll show you the the big trade and the mistake. I went long here right before breaking resistance. It worked. I took profit right here, but I took only half. So when it came back here, I said, okay, this is, you see this candle? I say, okay, this is probably going to be like a retest and it's going to continue up. So instead of cutting the entire trade, I doubled down. So I turned this huge profit not into a complete loss, but into a mini profit because I got stopped out in this candle breaking here. So now we're probably trying to reclaim this area, all right? And if we do, we expect another type of move like this for Trump, or not, or this may not happen, and we might be heading back down. So what we want to see on the very short term here is that we don't break this 180, 170. So we're gonna put our stop loss here. We're still long right now in a slight loss, and then I gotta go over my thought process for Ton. Ton did a huge move back then, guys. So it's been very bullish for this period of time, when it was pumping, but now it's kind of retraced. So This is kind of trying to make a very strong level of support. You see this 2.9 to 3. So my theory for ton is that if it managed to stay above 3, we might see a fight on the bullish side. All right. Now, my problem here is that it hasn't yet broken resistance. We need to get above this 3.034 in order for us to say yes, we are attempting to break in resistance. So this might be something not too good. So my theory here is okay. So if we're bullish for the day, higher highs, higher long, we might get a stab at this 3.034 resistance. And if we do, we might have a big push to the upside. Remember, guys, I'm almost here certified. I just need like two good trades and we're good. But if this reverses here, that's not going to be good. So these are my trades right now. Long Trump, long Ton. Right now they're not in a huge profit, so they might be reversing. I'm not gonna cut them off right now. I will cut them off if they start breaking this recent low. So I'm gonna give a um slight room for this trade to breathe a bit, and I'm gonna give a Trump some room to breathe as well. We don't want to see them trading below here because that would create a lower low, and we want to be out by then. Okay, so those are the current trades. So if they work out, if they work out, my thought process is that these coins are relatively bullish but haven't run yet, and that is my thought process. Now I'm gonna pick up my wife from a place she asked me to pick her up, guys. So this is gonna be the stream. Hope you enjoyed it. Pray for us here in Israel and for the people of Iran to have the courage and the strength to rise up to the tyrants of the Ayatollahs and those stinking violent jihadist regime. So we will achieve victory. It's a matter of obviously the cost in both human lives and the destructive war. So we pray for our soldiers. We pray for all the hostages to come back home, and we have our thoughts and prayers with everyone affected by this conflict. And in that hopes that we will see our brothers and sisters of Iran dancing together in the streets of Tehran very soon. I'll leave the stream here. Take care, guys. Have a very, very positive and peaceful week. See you hopefully tomorrow. Bye bye.